Hello everyone, it's Davide here and welcome back to Learning Finance. In today's video guys, I want to give you a quick update on Square stock, so Square, ticker symbol SQ, which if you follow my channel, you know that I have been following this stock basically since early this summer, late spring 2020, and it's been a great stock by the way. The stock price back then when I actually bought the stock and made my first video about Square was around here, okay, the mid of June, beginning of July. We were around $102, I think. So if you remember back then, I gave you my price targets. The first one, the less speculative one, was 227, and then the most speculative one was 295. It was quite crazy back then, but then the stock made a high peak in the 16th of February of $283. Okay, so very near to also hit the second price target, which was obviously the most speculative one, but very great stock. And right now, actually, we are obviously pulling back a bit. Okay, I made previous warning where I told you that okay, now Square has reached those prices, but now it's too much. Okay, so I told you that I wasn't feeling comfortable to buy back here anymore. And since then we had this pullback. The stock actually went below 200. That's what I told you, it's becoming interesting. Anyway, right now we are in this downtrend. So in this video, I want to show you actually a conservative valuation, so to try to understand where can be a nice price to buy if you want to get in Square or if you maybe are planning to add more shares. Okay, so the only thing I ask you is please leave me a like, it's very important and I thank you for it, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any new updates. Let's begin. So Square guys, obviously if you remember from previous videos, I told you many times that Square has two golden divisions, which are transaction-based revenue and subscription-based revenues. Then we have the hardware part, which is actually a very bad division, but that is useful to actually increase the other two. And then we have the Bitcoin revenue, which actually is pushing up the overall revenues, but in terms of gross margin is very poor, okay, just 2%. Anyway, that as well actually it helps Square to increase those other two revenues streams, simply because when users actually open Cash App to buy Bitcoin, then they are inside the Square ecosystem, so they can be attracted to actually use even different services so that Square can make more money. 2020 has been pretty bad because of the pandemic on the seller side, which is one of the two major parts which Square business is built on. Okay, if you know Square, you know that you have the Cash App, which has exploded with the pandemic, and the seller ecosystem, which actually they had very big issues. We all know that, and we all know why, okay? The economy shut down, all this kind of stuff. Obviously, for small businesses, 2020 has been a bad year. The growth has been basically flat. Anyway, I told you that going on in the future, I want to see the growth here continuing to go on together with Cash App. Okay, that would be amazing for Square. To help with that, I'm happy to see that Square actually opened its first bank. Now, it is not a commercial bank, it is an industrial bank. So what changes are some types of financial services that they can apply and that they can do, okay? But anyway, it is a physical bank and Square will use it in order to increase their seller business, okay? Especially with Square Capital and the lending business, so to small businesses. And then the goal of Square is to move from actually small businesses to bigger businesses, okay? So to like medium-sized businesses, okay? Because obviously you increase the size of the business and obviously the money involved increase as well. Okay, so that's positive. It's a positive outlook for Square with the reopening of the economy in 2021. Now, if you want to do a conservative valuation for Square to try to understand the price to buy, okay, or to add more shares if you like the business, obviously, because if you don't like the business, then just forget about it, okay? But in the case you like Square's business, I have done this valuation. Basically, the idea is what analysts are expecting, okay? Because if you look at that, for example, this is very near the consensus, okay? Square can grow gross profits at a more than 35% compounded annual growth rate. And also here she's pointing out EBITDA. This is an analyst from MoffettNathanson, which, however, is very near the consensus. Okay, the consensus is probably even higher than that. The EBITDA here, she's making a great assumption, which, however, I put that lower than that. Okay, so more conservative. Over the next 3 years. So if you go on and see this valuation, you actually see that for 2021 I took 38% growth, then 35, and then 30. Okay, so actually if you do the average is lower than 35. And when it comes to the EBITDA, I put for 2021 basically the same and is in 2020, and then increasing it. Okay, so it's less than the 50% that she was talking about over there. Now the growth rate actually decreases, okay, going on from 2025, 26, going on until 18% in 2028. And the EBITDA margin, I brought it up until an 18% in 2028 as the business continue to grow and hopefully scale. Now, just to make you a comparison, different comparables and competitors of Square, the EBITDA margins are actually pretty high. However, their business is not exactly the same. As we know, Square is also on the Bitcoin side of things, which overall they put margins pretty low. If you just put away the Bitcoin business, you have obviously higher margins, but I think that 18% for Square in 2028, considering what the competitors are doing, especially PayPal, 30.12%, in my opinion, is feasible for Square, okay? So they can achieve it. It's not something crazy, I think. Then the EV to EBITDA multiple in 2028, I put a 16x. And once again, PayPal just 1 month ago was trading at 50. So for 2028, just 16 in the case of Square, in my opinion, yeah, it can make sense. Okay, it's nothing too crazy, especially if they are able to achieve this kind of growth over there. Which, by the way, I know it is high, but when we take a look at PayPal Holdings, they have done that, okay? They have more than doubled their revenues in just 4 years, from 2016 to 2020. And 2020, actually, the pandemic hit, okay? So they could have done even more than that. But we see from 10.8 to 21.45, that's on average 33-34% growth every single year. And what I am assuming here is that Square can actually do the same. So nothing too crazy about it. And when you actually take the multiple here, you have that in 2028, the enterprise value for Square will be 198.4 billion. I have added a cash position of 8 billion, so you have a total market cap of around 206.4 billion. Now, 14% discount rate, so pretty high discount rate. We know that the issue with tech stocks and the interest yield going higher. Here, I'm not using 7%, 8%, okay? So 14% is quite conservative. You have that today, you will have a market cap of 107.2 billion. Divided by the shares outstanding, you get a fair price of 235. So you add a margin of safety of how much you want, right? Here I put 20% as an example, and you have that the price will be around $188.49, okay, with a 20% margin of safety. Now, this is under your control, okay? So You can put whatever you want in order to feel comfortable with it. So here I have updated the graph so you can visualize it. Probably it's easier to understand. Here I put the fair price, $235 per share. And here I put what in my opinion is a huge support area for Square, okay, around the 200 area, as we can see basically has happened as a resistance in October, and then when Square went up, actually always as a support. And the lower point of that, which is actually the bottom that Square made during the crash of 10 days ago, was around $190 per share, which it's very near to what I told you. It can be a nice price to entry, okay, if you want a 20% margin of safety. Obviously, here we have the 200 moving average, which is getting near the price. So I don't know if, let's say, in the next couple of days, 5 days, 1 week, you have some craziness going on in the market and the price of Square actually tries to drop below that support area, it could happen a touch, okay, a touch with the 200 moving average below 190. And in my opinion, that, if you like the business, can be a very great opportunity to add more shares or to enter the position. It's all about if you like the business and you believe in Square and Jack Dorsey's vision. If we take a look at what analysts are saying, we see that the median price, fair price, is actually 271 according to them. Okay, so I have been more conservative than them, but just to let you know that if we continue to see some weakness in the market, yeah, why not? It can be a great opportunity, okay, over the long term. So I hope you find the video interesting, guys, and leave me a like, leave me a comment below, tell me what's your opinion on the company, subscribe to the channel, and as always, guys, have a wonderful day.